we are back, and we're going to shift gears a little bit. We've been talking about death matters, life matters also.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
when it comes to home health and the summer months, it's really fascinating. You said there's some specific things we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, we really do. There's been studies out there, you know, and I think we all know this, even for younger folks, but for the elderly. There was a study done, about a 5-year-long study of about 15,000 people, men and women, over 71 years old. And what we found in that study, or not we personally, but what the study found was that about 80 to 90% of the elderly population are not consuming enough water or fluids each and every day.
Really?
It's very interesting.
Fascinating.
It is. And there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of times what happens as we age, we become more limited in our mobility. So physically, we're not even able to get up and get our water or have the things that we need at our disposal as quickly maybe as we can. Mm-hmm. The other thing that happens is we lose the urge. You don't realize that you're thirsty.
Okay.
So that fades a little bit. The other thing is cognitive. Cognitive, we forget. We simply forget to drink. And missing meals is something that a lot of elderly people do. My grandfather, I had just a quick example of this. There was a time where we would visit him, and we'd realize that, you know, he wasn't eating breakfast or he wasn't eating lunch, and he would have a big dinner, and he would think that getting all those calories and he would get some fluids in the evening was enough to sustain him during the day. Well, we all know that how hot it is, especially in this area. And through sweating, through some of the medications that we take, if they're diuretics, you know, when we have higher output of urine, those types of things, we lose fluids. Congestive heart. We lose a lot of fluids to our body. So it's things that we don't even think about each and every day that are creating some of these possible dehydration in folks.
What are the recommendations then? What are the symptoms? How would I know if I was dehydrated or if my mom or dad were dehydrated?
One of the things that we need to look for as caregivers, or just ourselves,
that's why we have you.
Is, you know, fatigue. Fatigue is one. Headaches can be one. The classic symptoms of dry mouth. You know, you can certainly have that too.
Does that affect cognition?
It does. It definitely can affect cognition. You can find that maybe your loved one is maybe a little bit more confused than normal.
Okay.
And the other thing you can do, there's a simple little test, and I've known about this for a long time, but we forget about this. You can take the back of your loved one's hand like this, and you can pinch it and pull it up for about 2 or 3 seconds. If it stays, if it doesn't go back down like yours did, so you're hydrated, that's a sign of dehydration. Oh, that's it's a small test. Now that is one simple sign.
But it gives you a baseline.
It does give you a baseline. The other thing that you can do as a caregiver, if you're helping with a lot of the personal care, is urine output. Okay. If there's very low urine output as you're working with that person, or if the urine's dark, if it's a dark color, those are some telltale signs that there's some potential dehydration there. Now, mild to moderate dehydration, most people can just by adding more fluids to their diet. You can do that at home. Okay. You know, make sure the person continues to stay in cooler places. If they're going to do any types of activities in the summertime, do it later in the day, earlier in the day, where it's a little cooler, and just continue to have maybe a hydration schedule as well.
That's really a good idea.
We have to be purposeful with the hydration. I've come to find that even with myself, and maybe I'm not quite there yet as far as being considered a senior, but it's still very important to any age. We just have to be purposeful to make sure that we're hydrated. Keep a bottle of water with you at all times during the day and sip throughout the day.
Is that something that you as a home health care agency, your right-at-home folks, would kind of pay attention to? Is that...
Absolutely. One of the things that we, you know, when you're thinking of home health care or home care, we think of so many things like their activities of daily living, you know, the bathing, dressing, transferring, all these physical things that people may be limited on right now, even taking their medications or eating properly. Right. One of the things that we all, I think, take for granted is the hydration. Yeah. And hydration is very important. We get a lot of our hydration through our meals as well, and people don't think about it that way. They think about, well, I've got to have
I have
this.
sip a glass of water.
That's right.
A glass of water.
And I go back to my grandfather who was skipping meals. Not only was he not drinking, but maybe a few times a day, he wasn't eating. And in those meals, like fruits and vegetables and some of these other foods that we eat, we get a lot of the hydration that way. So it's very important to keep all of that into consideration as we're going through our day, not just that medication that, maybe I missed in the morning, but
Right.
you also didn't drink, fluids.
Do you look at, we're talking about the hydration, do you look at how folks are eating? Do you pay attention to that too?
Yeah, we actually track that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, do you
Yeah, we
really?
do. Mhm.
Do you suggest meals? I mean, I often wonder if at 65, I know that I'm lazy.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't, it's that right?
Sure.
So I wonder, I've got better things to do. I'd rather read or do
That's
something
right.
else.
That's right. We need prompting and cueing. At any age, sometimes it's nice to have someone, remind us that, these are good ideas. And so what we do is in our plan of care, we actually outline meals and how we're going to be selective of those
Okay.
meals depending on what maybe diagnosis someone has. Maybe if it is congestive heart failure or if it's they have diabetes.
Right.
We're really planning and helping them prepare those meals to make sure they're getting what they need nutritionally and getting enough fluids.
It's a
How
lot.
fun is this?
That's a great topic, though. I'm really glad you brought that up because I think a lot of people do not think about that, and it's very important. Well, guess what?
I hate this.
I know you
we
hate when
got
I say
more-
that.
I know, more
We're-
questions,
Yeah,
more
I know.
questions.
We're out of time. Allie, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. for
Great
having me.
information. Great.
Really good.
And I hope that if anyone is interested in this program, just to give the hospice of the Low
And
Country
that's Hospice
a
Care of the Low
call.
Country.
Yes.
Absolutely. We
Yes.
sure will.
Okay.
Neil, as usual, glad to have you. Director of Community Relations with Right at Home.
That's right.
Great
Thank you
job.
very
Great
much.
information.
Glad to be
Thank
here.
you, sir.
I can have it back.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Deb.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us here on the Senior Network, where senior care experts come together. We'll see you the next time.